Who is missing? Tony is missing and Pradeep. Akshay is also missing. Okay, no problem. Let's get started. Okay. Again, creation of virtual machine is same. Just we need to select a different operating system, right? So there are two different ways to authenticate to a virtual machine, Linux virtual machine. Okay. So let's go to creating a new virtual machine. I will say Linux VM. We're okay with the location. We don't want any availability. Zone virtual machine skill set of set. Anything. We are okay with security type standard. And we are okay with Ubuntu. Okay. So here you can see authentication type. We have two authentication type. Okay. One is like SSH key, that is public key, and another one is your password. Okay. So last time, if you remember, we have got a generated key pair, correct? But we are unable to connect because the Microsoft, the key they will generate will be in PEM format, and we need a PPK format. Okay, the SSH key. So we can convert it with PuTTY generator, the PEM to PPK, and then we can connect to our virtual machine. Okay. So if you get some time, we will do that at the end. Right now, we'll go with password. Okay. So again, we'll give Azure user password. We will give. Okay. So for SSH, we have port 22. Delete with VM. That's correct. Encryption of host. All those things we don't want now. We'll just review and create. Okay. How many of you have used Linux virtual machine, or they are using currently in their organization or somewhere? Any one of you? Even nowadays, we are getting Ubuntu in our personal system also, right? All are using Ubuntu. Anyone? Okay. Yeah. Let's create another virtual machine. Okay. We will create Linux virtual machine only, but this time it will be from SSH. Okay. Not I will be back. You are okay with same resource group. We'll give Linux VM2. Okay. This time we are going with public SSH key. Okay. We'll download. I don't think so. Any other changes we need to create. Let it get created. We'll download. Sorry. So there are two, three ways to connect to a Linux machine. First most was the PuTTY, right? We are trying to connect last day, if you remember, with PuTTY to connect to the Linux. Another option is MovaXM. Okay, MovaXM is one more. So let's download MovaXM to connect to Linux machine. I guess our first virtual machine is ready. Second virtual machine is also ready. Let's connect one by one to them, right? If I click on virtual machine, I will get both the virtual machine here, correct? If I'm going to Linux virtual machine 1, I will copy the IP address. And this time what we have done, we have just used ID and password. So it will be easy for us, right, to connect to it. So I will open PuTTY. You can see my screen. I will just keep the IP address here. Okay. I will say open. So this screen will open. Okay. If you are able to see, it says login as. That is the username. Okay. Just give your username. Then it is asking for password. Okay. Now I am able to log in, right? Azure user Linux, you can say. Everything I have to do is with command line, right? I don't have an UI for this machine, right? So what is the first thing? Let's say I wanted to install something on this server, right? So first command I can do is sudo, that is switch user, right? Then apt get -y -update. Okay. So basically, I'm updating the repository for my Linux virtual machine, which has details of so many informations. You can say different uh, softwares from where we will be installing some of them. Okay. So before installing any software, please update your repository. Okay. This is different from DevOps repository. Okay. Don't get it confused. Okay. Or you can say library. Okay. You can see they have archived from this Azure archive Ubuntu to some other place, right? So these all are just basically small files which they have archived. Okay, and let's say I wanted to install a web app to this virtual machine. So for Linux it is Nginx, right? So if you say sudo apt-get y install Nginx, it will install Nginx to your Linux. Basically a web server. Okay, how you can check if web server is running or not? We'll copy the IP address and we'll paste it here. Okay, it's not working. Why it's not working? We have just allowed only one port, correct? So how to add another port? Go to networking. So you can see only port 22 is allowed. Which port has to be allowed?
SSH.
SSH is already allowed for RDP. We are able to SSH it. Now I'm unable to access this web.
65000
Okay.
Akash.
Sorry.
Uh,
Mhm.
65,000 port.
HTTP and HTTPS. What is the port number?
port 80 or port
443
256.
for HTTPS and 80
Uh,
for
Yeah.
HTTP.
HTTP.
Mm. So what I'm trying to access here, HTTP and HTTPS, correct?
HTTP.
HTTPS.
So we have
No,
to enable those
HTTP.
ports.
HTTP.
HTTP because we have not installed any
SSL certificate.
SSL certificate. So it is port 80. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, let's add. Okay. While it is getting updated, let's see how we can install some other stuff, right? Like let's say I wanted to install Terraform on Ubuntu. What I will say, how to install Terraform in Ubuntu on Ubuntu, correct?
Chocolate will help us to install that.
Chocolatey, we need to install Chocolatey. Okay, let's install Chocolatey on Linux. Install Chocolatey on Ubuntu. Yes, they have options. Anything, see, you have to understand how we are trying to do our work, right? So, yes, anything installing, just to install WSL. Will it install? I don't think so. To install Ubuntu. Okay, to install Ubuntu from Chocolatey, it is like that. We want to install Chocolatey on Ubuntu. That is, using Chocolatey, you can install Linux. Hmm. I don't think so. They are not giving any options. This all is related to like how to install Ubuntu using Chocolatey. Okay. Okay. Here is one. Install Chocolatey using. Okay. This is again PowerShell. This is Windows. No, I don't think so. We can install Chocolatey. Okay. It's not giving. Great. That's fine. It's okay. So you can see when I search, okay, how to install Terraform in Ubuntu. Even I don't remember all the commands, right? I also know the basics of Linux, but yeah, I can do things. How? We have web, how to search, how to do it. That's what we have to do. Okay, so you can say first we have to configure the repository. Okay, or you can say library which we have done. So if I simply without configuring repository, let's try to run this command. Okay, sudo apt install terraform on our Linux. So unable to locate package, right? This says this package is not there in local. It will not able to install. That's why we have to configure our repository. Okay, so let's configure this. Okay, then we can say repository. They are basically adding this path to the same library. Add apt, where we are updating all the details. Okay, so once we configure repository and registering it, we can install Terraform. Now you can say Terraform got installed. Okay, so likewise, few software will be already there in repository. If it is not, you will get options how to configure the repository and how to update it. After that, you can install. Okay, so that is the way Linux will follow. There are so many things, and Linux is again a big, very big uh, topic. It's like if you're going through Linux, and yes, market is still leading by Linux only, not Windows. But unfortunately, we are not going in details of Linux. If you want to learn, maybe you can go to Linux and learn. Okay, mm, somewhere. So yeah, the basics is like okay, how to install some software, how to connect. We'll go through till there. Okay, so yeah, let's check our this is enabled or not. Which do we know? Okay, let's add inbound port with 80. Just add. Okay. So Terraform installed. If I wanted to check Terraform, okay, again it will be small. Know how to keep it. Okay, increase Ubuntu font size. You able to see activities? Anyone? No, right? Okay. So you can see Terraform got installed because recording will not able to capture these small things. So I'm trying to increase the font size. If I Okay, it's not showing, but yes, I will share some document which you can follow, and you can create some Linux virtual machine. Okay, and you can go through it. There are some options, but I'm not getting it from here. Event system duplicates, change setting, like no, there is go call copy. Listing are already there. Break, repeat, maximize, close. Mm. Okay, not getting any options. It's fine. So you have seen how to install some software. Okay, let's say tomorrow I wanted to install some other any software which you wanted to install. Let's say what do you want to install? What we have used? We have used. Okay, let's install Azure CLI. Okay, Azure CLI on Ubuntu. Okay, how do we install? Okay, again we have to. You can see Azure CLI is not present there, so you have to again add the repository URL. Okay, so let's copy that, go to your Ubuntu, add that to your repository package list. Okay, okay. So it is unpacking, it is taking some time. So basically, yes, you have to go through it and then search whatever you wanted to install on Linux. Once you get that, you can install other things also. Okay, let it take some time. If we are trying to log in using mobile action, there are a few companies who are not allowing mobile action. Okay, most of them are allowing putty. Installed. So this is your mobile action. Here you can click on session. Let me close all others. Okay, here we have session, then SSH. You have to give the host name. Okay, let's give the second host name which you have created, right? Now Linux virtual machine. So you can see our virtual machine is responding now. Nginx, welcome to Nginx, right? So we can again same as our IIS in Linux we have Nginx. Okay, and there are a few others also, but Nginx is the most used, you can say. Okay, or very popular machine, Nginx. So let's go to the second virtual machine. Okay. Go to overview, copy public IP address. Okay, just paste your IP address, specify username if you have any. Okay, if not, you can click on advanced asset setting. Okay, use private key and then select the key which you have just downloaded while creating the virtual machine, right? So Linux virtual machine 2. Okay, and then you can say okay. So you can see I'm connected. to this virtual machine. This time I have not given any password. Instead of that, I have given SSH key, correct? So which we have downloaded. So while creating this virtual machine, if you remember, we have downloaded this Linux key, right? This Linux key too. If you can see this key, right? If you open this, it has some RSA token key. Okay, it is validating from there. So let's remove downloads. Go to mobile XM. Same way here also. Update the repository if you want to install anything, and so on. Okay. So Linux is again cheaper as compared to Windows. Price will be less because we don't have to pay for license, correct? And again, here you will not have access to all the folders. Okay, you have to configure access and all those things. Like, okay, if you want any access level, you need to configure it by yourself. Okay, or like you should have admin access to change the access capabilities of Linux virtual machine. So I will say stick to Windows, but yes, just know how to connect to Linux will be more than enough as of now. Okay, anyone has any other question on Linux? So we have connected using mobile XM, we have connected using putty. Okay, and we have installed a Nginx one of the server, correct? Okay, we are installing Azure CLI. So it seems to be Azure CLI got installed. Let's see AG login. Will it work? And if yes, how we will be able to connect? So if you wanted to connect to Azure from your Linux machine, you can see to sign in, use the browser. You have to go to this browser. Okay, copy the code. I think I got exited from there. Okay, Microsoft device, then you will get a code, right? So this code you will have to keep there. Okay, okay, next. Then it will ask, okay, which account you wanted to sign in. Right now we have exited from there, so I don't think so. We will give easy login again. Let's see. Again, go to this. So this is the way to connect to Microsoft Azure if you wanted to connect from Linux. Okay, it will give you a new URL as you can see here, the highlighted one. Go to that URL, then give this key, okay, this code. Even sometime if you're connecting from your mobile, they will ask you to device login. Go to microsoft.com device login. You will get a code. Just paste that code, then it will ask to authenticate using your account. So once you authenticate, you will get the details here, like how we are getting in our Linux, sorry, Windows AG login, correct? So that is the basics of Linux, how to connect, how to install Nginx and all. Okay. So yes, please explore if you have time, um, at least a few things in Linux. Okay. Yep. That's all about Linux we have. Okay. How to connect, and that's it. Rest all you can see are the same. There is no difference. Okay. There is one option called basin. We have not connected it, right? Let's try to create a basin. Okay. Deploy basin and try to connect using basin. So creating basin will take some time. What is basin basically? Any idea? Let's go to a little bit about basin, right? We have seen this again before also. So you can see if I'm connecting to any of the virtual machine, right? What I used to do, I used to connect using RDP or SSH, right? But Basin will provide you an option to connect to your virtual machine using 443. Okay, so it will create a Basin subnet, and that there it will create a virtual machine which will act as a Basin host for you. Okay, then from browser only we will be accessing this Basin host, and inside this Basin host it will be connecting to my virtual machine. Okay, so it's like a one stop before going to virtual machine. You can say a jump server, a Basin host, or anything. Okay, so instead of directly connecting to my virtual machine via RDP or SSH, we'll go through 443 over internet. From browser, we will connect to this Basin host, and this Basin host will give us access to this Azure virtual machine. Okay, so let it get deployed. If it would deploy soon, we'll able to connect to these virtual machines. Okay. Now I guess one virtual machine is more than enough. It's fine. So you can see there are some folders right here in second, which you don't have access. Says read, right? Let's cross this mobile action. I will delete the virtual machine too. Okay, let's go there and delete it. I want to delete everything. Yeah, so your basin is taking a little bit of time deployment. Or it will create a basin. We'll see all those things related come. Okay. Anyone has any question? Whatever we have gone through from that.
Yes, Vikas. If as the basin uses the port number of SSH 443, so why don't we use SSH instead of the basin?
Basin not using port number SSH. It is using 443. Basin is your like whenever any guest is coming to your house, are you allowing him to like go inside directly your bedroom? No, right? You have a guest room, right? So basin is basically a kind of guest room, okay? Where anyone is coming, first they will go there. From there, he can access other parts of your house, right? So it's like that, okay? So Basin, we are just creating one network. On top of Basin, we can install different sort of certificates and all. It is like connecting to your virtual machine over internet. It is not direct SSH connection, okay? So inside Basin, it is already in your network. It can connect to SSH. You are not allowing SSH over the internet. Right now, what we are doing, we are allowing SSH to expose over internet. You have to understand that.
Okay.
So if you are using Basin, we are not allowing our SSH over internet. Our SSH is enabled within our company network. Okay. Okay. Anyone else has any question? Will you people able to connect, create a Linux virtual machine and able to connect to it? I hope yes.
Yes, Vikas. Vikas,
Yes.
Windows virtual machine, we were connecting, we were installing something else how we can see here on the Linux, all the things.
That's what we are doing here, right? You
Uh,
have to install using command line.
okay,
That's what we are doing. Okay, I wanted to install anything. I have to like install it like this. Okay, so any software we have tried installing Terraform. We have tried installing some other. So any software you wanted to install, you have to install via CLI. Okay, let's try to install one more thing. Azure CLI we have tried, right? So what next you wanted to install on Linux? Give me any software, we'll try to install that. Let's say what we can install npm. Okay, enable package manager, install npm on Ubuntu. That is node.js npm. Okay, you will get go to documentation. You can say sudo apt update. That is again updating of the repository of Linux. Correct. So before installing anything, just update the repository. You can see 8 packages can be upgraded, and that's all we are getting. Okay, so let's go to again. Somehow it went to do apt update. Let me do that. Okay. So you can see if I wanted to see the list, I can see the via this command apt list upgradable, like what all list will be upgraded. Like this is the repository things what we wanted to upgrade. Okay, let's see. You can see git library, network dispatcher, and some other things got updated. Now I wanted to install nginx, sorry, npm, right? So where is that? Mm, this one, not this one. Multiple. Okay, so you can see first I updated. Second is like sudo apt install node.js npm. Correct. So I will just copy and paste here. If you remember, it's like most of them start with sudo apt. If it is Ubuntu, it will apt. If it is Red Hat, it will be yum, yum. Okay, so just try to install few things. Okay, if you are getting complete Linux, that is a problem. You won't get a complete Linux because they will ask lots of questions in Linux. So parallelly, you can learn Linux. First, focus on Windows now. Okay, you can see it's installing, right? Progress you can see, unpacking and all those things. So uh, yes, or maybe you can install Ubuntu on top of your local laptop and you can play with it. Okay, and you can create. You can basically go through it. This is how it is going in Linux. But Linux is more easier than Windows once you learn. But yes, unfortunately, we cannot. Yes.
Because if we want to install the Linux in our Windows machine, then we have to install the VMware in our
No,
Windows
it's
operating
not.
system.
No, it's not like that. If you're using Windows 10, there is some software you can download, Ubuntu from Microsoft Marketplace, and it will work. Okay,
Okay.
so no need to install VMware or anything. It's a direct software. Okay, I think I have Ubuntu. You can say Windows on Ubuntu app. Okay, you can go there and search Ubuntu. Okay, I am having Windows 11, so even Windows 10 will have Ubuntu on Windows. Okay, it is asking me. I just clicked. It is asking me username, right? Let's say give some username. It is asking password. Okay, so again, I got the same window here, right? Here I can also say sudo apt update. Password. Same thing, it is working on your local. Okay, if you wanted to learn more about Linux, you can enable it in your local and you can work on it. Okay, so that's about Linux. If I wanted to install a Terraform will not be installed because I have to update library for Terraform. Right. So okay, we are like at 8:52. So let's see if our Basin got deployed. Yes, it got deployed. Go to home. Okay, go to networking. Wanted to see where Basin is, right? To go to virtual network. Go to subnets. So you can see inside my virtual network, we have different subnet, right? Subnet you can call it as a room, right? From virtual network is your complete house, and then you have different rooms that is your subnet, right? So in that only you have one dedicated subnet for basin, right? Or you can say for the guest who will trying to access our server, right? So my basin is like it is part of our own network, right? So yes, no need to expose our SSH if I need to connect from inside my same network, right? So again, I will go to home. I will go to virtual machine, Linux VM. Here we have connect using basin, right? I will say basin. Okay. Here, first one, it is asking username and password, right? So I guess your user was the username, right? And password also, I guess. What is happening? Pop local is 220. Okay, need to allow something. Okay. So you can see this connection is over your browser. Okay, and I'm connecting to my virtual machine using Basin, and that is using Chrome. Okay. So here it can be more secure because for 3 we can add different type of certificates, SSL certificates and all those things. So Basin is more secure way to connect. Okay, if you are going to a few companies, they will just allow you connecting using Basin. Okay, so again, how to connect using Basin? Go to overview, click on connect. You have SSS, RDP, and Basin. Click on Basin. Okay, then you have option. Okay, how you wanted to connect? You give username and then you can give password. You can give SSH key which we have just downloaded, right? Then you have SSH private key from local or SSH key from Key Vault, right? So there are so many options. If you have stored your SSH key in Key Vault, you can select your Key Vault here and then select your key and then you can connect. Okay, so this is your Basin. Anything on Basin? Any questions? You can see Vivek, Vishal, Alok, Ajit. Okay, if not, let's stop and we will.
Vikas,
Yes.
one of my family member is working with the Accenture.
Mm-hmm.
He told me that he is working with the Linux operating system while
Mm-hmm.
while we work with their company.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the company uses the Linux operating system to operate their
Yes.
work.
Yes. It's not most of the companies, depends on the company. There are so many companies who are using Windows. There are so many companies they are using Linux. Okay. So yes, it's both the operating system. Linux is more dominating, 60-40 maybe.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So it's 8:56. Let's go to interview questions today. Okay. Anyone has attended any interview last week who wanted to discuss some questions here? for rest of the people? Vishal, you want to discuss some question?
Yes, because there was one more question. He asked me the difference between virtual machine and Kubernetes container, like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So how you have answered that?
I explained virtual machine
Hmm.
in detail, but simply in the term of container, simply I told uh, it's a software package.
Okay.
Between that, he interpreted fully. Okay, okay, I got it. I was not able to explain in a much
Yeah.
better way.
Yes. So see, we are discussing now like Windows and Linux, right? Today class. So which team will be using, correct? Now, most of the companies are going towards Kubernetes, or you can say containerized based image, right? So if you remember, there was a class where we have discussed, right? Kubernetes or container is like virtualization of your operating system, correct? So let's say on top of one host, we can install multiple virtual machine. We are talking about VMware, we are talking about Hyper-V, right? Where we have seen, okay, there is one large chunk of hardware we have, and on top of that we use some virtualization OS, and on top of virtualization OS we are installing multiple virtual machines, right? So that is your virtual machine. But then operating system is like sorry, container is your even virtualization of your operating system, right? On top of one virtual machine you can install multiple containers. Okay, so I guess you will get that thing in one of the class. So we are again not covering container, that is very vast topic again. So, so again, just learn a basics of container, what it is. Okay, that will be more than enough. So whatever you have answered is good enough from our classes, because yes, we have not discussed container in details, but yes, introduction we have gone through what is container. So again, I will say just take a note on what is container, how it works. Okay, so basically, container is a like we'll deploy some image on it. It has its own networking protocol and everything. A application is required to run. Okay, so it's, you can say, kind of complete packaging of one application and deploying on top of a virtual machine. So in that way, we can deploy multiple uh, application in the same virtual machine. Okay, so that is your container basically. So right now we have seen, we have just installed Nginx, right? So we can install multiple Nginx if you are using container on same Linux machine or same Windows machine. Okay. Okay. Any other questions?
At the time of the discussion about the container, you said we install the container over the Hyper-V.
No, we first install a host operating system. On top of that, we will be installing the container. We will be deploying the container. Container will not be installed. It
Okay.
will be deployed.
It is basically used to separate, yeah, distinguish the different container which are available over what is said. I don't have a idea regarding that.
Yes, so container, yes, it itself is a complete package. Okay, it will have every details to run a it will have, let's say it is a node based application or JavaScript based application. It will have all the dependency packaged in a single container. That's why I call it as a container. Okay, you can even move that container from one virtual machine to another virtual machine and it will work. Okay, to
Okay.
move a Nginx server from one Linux machine to virtual machine is tedious work. It will take time. But if it is in container, you can get the image, you can deploy that container right away in different virtual machines. So that is the benefit of container.
Kubernetes plays their role in the container.
Kubernetes is like a service of Microsoft. Azure Kubernetes Services is a service of Microsoft which will help you in deploying container-based application.
Okay.
Okay. So yes, don't try to go in everywhere. Just try to focus on whatever we have gone through. First priority should be getting a job. Then you can explore anyway. You can then decide your path where you wanted to go. You wanted to go with Linux. You wanted to go with Kubernetes. You wanted to go with DevOps. There are lots of paths. We have discussed also one day, right? What all path we have in future. So right now, just first try to get your platform. Okay, getting first job is getting your platform ready. Okay, post that you can move to any direction. So Azure has lots of potential. You can go to anywhere. Okay, so yes,
हर
don't get
हर
discouraged.
मॉड्यूल हर मॉड्यूल पे एक जॉब है. You can
That's
get
correct.
job on every module.
Networking, you can get job. Azure Active Directory, you can get a job. Azure Storage account, you can get a job. Linux, you can get a job. So there is right now we are trying to learn basics and try to get our first platform or first job. Okay, please try to understand that. Everyone, I will say, focus on that. Get a job. Once you get inside, learn your project. Once you learn the project, completely you understand your project, you'll get lots of time. In that time, you can plan for your next move, what you wanted to learn, what market demands. Okay, right now just uh, understand. Okay, we are trying to get all the introductions and whatever is required to get you onboarded, basically.
Because while making a resume of mine, I
Mhm.
am not able to add. I don't have any project to add over there.
So yes, we have discussed the project. Please try to go through that and create a project by yourself.
No,
If not,
no need. Project is not necessary. What you are like, whatever Vikas has taught, if you just tell that only, like I have done this in my, just correlate it with what you have done. Like I have studied these things, and you just tell these things only I have done in my project. So that will become your project.
yeah.
Okay.
So yes, go through the video of project and try to write something. Okay. Try to create whatever you are feasible to you. Then call me. I can help you in that. Okay. Creating a resume is fine. And do it fast because like you are the last one who has not created your resume now. Everyone has started giving interview also. So please don't be late. Okay. Try to create wherever you are able to create, and then I can help you in optimizing your resume. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So uh, sorry, who all are there? Vivek left, Vishal, Alok, Akshay, Jeet. I guess we don't have any other questions, right? Vishal, you have any other question?
No, Vikas, no.
Okay, rest all you were able to answer. Did you got any feedback?
Vikas, there was one more question in DevOps. He asked me who write code on DevOps, uh, like that. Simply, I said the developer write the code. Simply, we are managing, we are creating the pipelines for
Mm-hmm.
automation.
So, yeah, that was a good answer, but that is in a rude manner. So,
Not like that. Simply, I take some time. Uh, that's
okay. So yes, that's the correct answer. You can say developers are like developer will be giving you the code related to application, correct? But not sure if he was asking for the YAML based pipeline. YAML based pipeline, you have to write it, correct? So
सर
developer
बट
will give you.
YAML बेस्ड पाइपलाइन में भी कुछ फीचर्स ऑलरेडी होते हैं ना, जैसे आपको कुछ कॉपी करना हो तो ऑलरेडी आप लाइक यू कैन, rather than writing the code, you can directly copy it from the schedule task. Something is there, right?
See, we have seen creating a classic pipeline, right? Once you create a classic pipeline, you will get YAML pipeline for that classic. You can download it and you can use that in your YAML based pipeline. Okay. So whatever job you are able to do using classic, you can download a YAML file for that. Okay. And then you can use it as a YAML pipeline. Okay. So that's our YAML based pipeline. So yes, just ask like what type of code you are asking. Is it related to application, or you can say application related code is managed by developer team, development team, or application team. Infrastructure related code or script, my team is managing. Okay. like that it answer should be. Okay, is it clear now?
Uh,
Because you will be managing your Terraform script, right, sir? You will be managing your Azure CLI script. So yes, it's not just application team. There is divide. Infrastructure related script you will manage. Application related script development team will manage. Right. So uh, that was a good question. Not bad. Okay. Any other questions?
he also asked the question on the Terraform and state file.
Mm-hmm.
Likewise, that what is Terraform? Then I compare with the PowerShell and CLI,
Mm-hmm.
and given the feature of the Terraform that we have the state file here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah,
Uh,
that's good.
and,
Is it? Mm-hmm.
and there was a specific term you told me that what was the term? Uh, what resource we are creating? We can go
Mm-hmm.
and see there. We can monitor that. But using PowerShell and CLI, there is no feature between the command we are giving the resource we are creating there.
Yeah, there is no active link
Yeah,
between resource
yeah,
and
that
Terraform state.
yeah,
Yes,
active connection like that, na?
yes, active connection. So yeah,
Mm, that
okay.
that
So
term
what?
was not getting at that time.
Okay, okay. So what you answered for the Terraform state file? What Terraform state file does?
uh, Terraform state file, likewise what we are creating, it keeps a record. uh, um, Likewise, the script we are writing, what we are performing there, the state file keeps
Mm,
the record, and mm,
yes. So yeah, in simple, you can say like a state file is like a record keeping. So it will uh, have the details of what all resources already deployed, what all configuration is there, right? So
yes,
when we are trying to deploy a new resource, we'll compare the state file if that resource is already created or not, or what is the configuration, and then it will update the new resource accordingly, right? So yeah, don't take much load. Try to answer in. If you're not getting words, that is fine because this is, I think, your second interview, right? Once you
yes,
like
yes,
go through again more interview, you will get the words. Okay, so this is normal thing. This is not bad. So at least you are able to go to the point where to answer, right? And then you are just forgetting what was the actual term. So that's fine.
yes,
Just
yes.
revise more, you will able to answer, you will able to recollect it during interview, right? So anyone else? Any other question Vishal you wanted to add? And this is not just for
Uh,
Vishal, right? Those who are even not giving interview, for them also it is like a virtual interview. They can prepare these answers, right? Yes, Vishal.
no, nothing was now.
Okay. Okay, I guess Alok and Ajit, both of you please update your resume. Alok, update in Freshers World and Naukri also just update and see. Ajit also please
Yes,
try
sir.
to get your resume and upload it somewhere. Interview is required. Other people are moving away from you people. Okay, thanks team. Thank you. We'll meet on Monday. Till then, please do practice. Okay, and get
Thank you, sir.
well, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, Vikas.
Thank you.